What a show we have lined up. Florida playing Houston tonight. The line is -1. The total is 141. And we are going to do as deep a dive as humanly possible. We're going to tell you how to bet every single part of this game. Side bets, total bets, prop bets. We got Krackman joining us first. He's going to look at a side bet in this game and then back out of it. We'll explain later. He's got a prop bet in this game. We're going to talk some baseball. First five versus full game betting, a conversation that should be very interesting. And Crack's going to give us the winner on the Cincinnati-San Francisco game. After him, we got the great Brian Power joining us. Brian's had an incredible college basketball season, and he's going to tell us how to bet the total in the college basketball game tonight. And he's also going to look at Philadelphia and Miami in the NBA. Jesse Schule back from his vacation, powerlifting machine. He's got some prop bets for us in college hoops. Carmine Bianco, Champions League quarterfinals is this week. Tons of betting opportunity in that. Arsenal playing Real Madrid tomorrow. Carmine's going to look at that. And Gianni the Greek will end this show. I'm Lawrence Presman. You're watching WagerTalk Today. This is without question the best daily sports betting show on the planet. And we've got right off the bat, probably the best sports bettor on the planet, the Krackman, Bill Krackomberger. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. How we doing? Okay?
Dude, I'm freaking ecstatic, bro. Thank you for asking. That allows me to brag. I went 3-1 on Saturday for my clients. I won yesterday. I'm 13-5 in the madness. I'm on an 11-2 NHL run. I got action from the wife twice in the last 72 hours. I'm 20 minutes away from finishing Daredevil, the newest season. I have done 3 shows today and 40 minutes of lat pull downs and rows. And I have a 5% play up in the NHL tonight, Bill. I know you didn't need any of that, but I am ecstatic. How are you?
Good, my man. Good. How can you not be? Las Vegas over the weekend. Great weekend of music for me. Great weekend of actually the baseball season is starting out great. Up double digits so far and unit wise, and got to see the Eagles this weekend over at the Sphere, which was unbelievable. Anyone should go see that. One of the best concerts I've seen in my life. I've seen a lot of concerts. Then the next night I seen John Anderson from Yes. They were great. These guys are 81 years old. The Eagles in the late 70s. Sports betting, weather's turning. That's it. The winter's over here. It's going to be 78 today, 85 the rest of the week, 90. Going to be great. I'm headed down to the Masters at the end of the week. I mean, life is good.
Bill Krackomberger joining us, everyone, and a great follow on Twitter, guys. So make sure to check him out on Twitter. Actually, Bill, no joking aside, you really might be the best follow on Twitter out of anybody I follow. Your stuff is informative, excellent. You're on a million shows. Dan, put up his Twitter address, because if you guys don't follow Bill on Twitter, I highly suggest you do. What is it? It's at Bill Crack. I can't remember.
Krackman. There Krackman. It is. Yep.
Crack.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that, Lawrence. I put a lot of time and effort into that. I try to teach people a lot of things and show them what's going on in town. Maybe throw up a restaurant or two per week, but also show them little things going on in the casinos. Some of the advantage plays, some of the machines that I play. I look at casinos much different than anyone else. Walk in, just try to see what I can make money on, progressives and that kind of thing, and also teach them different things about sports betting, and just in life and anything to do with gambling or anything. I like to be on top of that.
There we go. What did Dan just write? Dan, why don't you just say it on air, Dan? Say it on air.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was going to say that from following Krackman for a while, one of my favorite things is when he has the sour rooters or whatever you call them behind the slot machines. Yeah. The slot machine culture is crazy to me, and I love when Bill chronicles it live from the scene.
Yeah, I don't.
I got about 50 million views on that so far. Just one got like 5 million. I just try to show people what the advantage people are looking for, the advantage players compared to regular people. I just named them sour rooters because they're sour and they're rooting against you. And they're trying to blow smoke in your face and trying to get you off the machine because they want to get on it because it's in a bonus mode. It's a fun little thing.
Yeah, so check that out, guys. Bill, let's get into it. We've got a big show. We got a huge college basketball game. Now, before we take apart what's going to happen tonight, the Duke loss was unbelievable for the sports books. I mean, it was like Christmas came early. Everybody and their mother was on Duke. I was on Houston as a 4% play for my clients at plus 5.5. Now 13-5 in the madness. Wanted to get that in there, but yeah, Bill, were there dancing behind the booths? How happy were the books about that?
I put a tweet up on that yesterday. It's got about 30,000 views right now. Just said real simple. I talked to a couple of bookmakers, and yes, this was one of the biggest games in their entire life of the sports book, which they didn't expect. Everyone was trying to enhance their parlays with Duke money line. Everyone was trying to just put in Duke money line. Don't worry, this is going to be easy. Look what happened. They had an epic collapse in their game. And let me just say it. I say it on all my shows. I said it yesterday on Fox. God protects the bookmakers. It's all I can tell you. Tons of money now for the books for this March Madness finale here. It doesn't even really matter what happens here. You may have not the same kind of money, but it seems like everyone's doing the same thing on Florida here. I'm not saying everyone. Yeah. The line really didn't move. It's 1.5 at a couple books I'm looking up now. I see a couple of red spots on my screen. But like I said, the Duke money literally takes care of their whole basketball season. I don't want to hear none of them crying throughout the year, and I want to start getting some free drinks in the sports books for all these sports books that started taking the drink tickets away from the customers.
Bill Krackomberger joining us, and I asked Bill to come up with a side bet for us on this game tonight, and Bill's response was?
Well, it's such an efficient market. I understand people want a winner in the big game, but that's like asking for a winner in the Super Bowl. I mean, the line is right. The line is what it should be. Maybe a hair higher, 1.5. It looks like they're going to be maybe the closing number by tonight. But I just don't want to give out a side or total if I'm not betting a side or totals. That's just not what I do. So I said, there's going to be some side bets in this game. There's going to be some prop bets. Prop bets is where I've made my money over the years. Like I said, it's very efficient, 141. So I don't really expect too much movement either. I like to attack that prop market. It's what I do. Tons of options, by the way. These sports books now compared to 5 years ago even, there's 100 props on tonight's game. So I'm going to look towards the big man. Juwan Roberts going over 10.5 points. Roberts should play 35 minutes. In this one, I would think something like that. As long as he can avoid any foul trouble or any kind of, I think this can go over. And years ago, I was an under guy. I played under on most of my props because it was built in a little bit of an advantage to bet under. Everyone bets overs. Now you could bet over on prop bets, though. There's so many different ways to bet the props over under on different things on points, assists, rebounds. I just think Florida's coach over there, he doesn't like to double down really. I'm sorry, he just doesn't like to down low. He doesn't like to double team, I should say, double down. My mind is always on blackjack and card counting. I'm sorry. But yeah, so he just doesn't like to like down low. So I just think that they're going to be focused more on Houston's outside shooters. So Robert should be able to get some one-on-one work in the post there. I like the points to go over. And you know what? This could be a tight game back and forth. So don't just think that automatically, this is going to be a blowout. So maybe they're going to, slow the game down. This could be more back and forth than people think. As a matter of fact, not that I'm betting it, but if I see all these Jinxie Jonas keep on talking about Florida, I may have to go the other way just for what a GP bet, general principle. So there you go.
Right. Well, it's tough. It's tough though to do a GP bet when the line isn't moving. Bill Krackomberger joining us, everyone, and as he's saying, it's really hard for him to come up with a side bet on this game, but he did give you a prop bet that he is personally betting. I want to shout out everybody in the chat room, guys. We are 902 subscribers away from 200,000 subscribers. Can we get that done today, please? 902 more subscribers. Also, please hit that like button. I do want to address one of the people in the chat room, Baba. Baba, I've never seen your name before. It's Baba. Welcome to the chat room. Really appreciate you being here. Here we go again, Bill, with the it's fixed. The refs fixed it with on the Duke game with the brutal no calls. Baba, the Duke guy kicked the ball out of bounds, and then Duke got the ball back. I love how you are only finding a narrative to fit your nonsense. Anyway, Bill, I don't want to get into whether sports are fixed or not. That would give justice to nonsense. Let's talk about baseball. Look, there's a huge movement towards betting first fives. This is something that has become bigger and bigger and bigger as we progress. The late, great Dave Koken, one of the best baseball bettors I've ever seen in my life, towards the end of his life, was betting almost exclusively first five. So we've seen a massive shift. Can you tell us why this shift has happened and what you think is better overall between first five and full game, or is it, case by case?
Well, maybe it's case by case, but however, all these new sports books that came to this country 7 years ago, they offer so many different types of bets and a lot of different ways to bet first five. I see back in Jersey when I'm there, those books are offering first three, inning by inning. So there's more interest in betting other ways to get to the game rather than baseball. Not that it's so efficient because it's every day. It's hard to put up a unique number on 12, 13 games. But there's many different ways to get at a game. I love betting first fives personally because, like the first half of a college basketball game, it's a pure number. You're literally handicapping starting pitchers versus starting pitcher. You don't have to worry about middle relief or even bullpens. Usually they get through the first five. You're just looking to handicap those starters. And, I'll just tell you, Major League Baseball is going on every day. It's a grind. You have to be committed to it. Listen, I know people expect to win every day at something or even every week. It's not going to happen. But I'll tell you this, though. By the end of the season, though, I have had really great success betting almost every single sport, including baseball. So we scour the entire Major League Baseball board for plus EV games. If you wanted to talk about, I told you guys, I do a lot of baseball props too, by the way. But Cincinnati-San Fran matchup, if you want to talk about that a little bit, I'd be happy to talk about that.
Yeah, and I put this down as sort of the featured game. San Fran 8-1 on the season, really great start to the year, that is for sure. And they've won 7 in a row here. They're minus 155 against a Cincinnati team that has started well in typical Cincinnati fashion. They can't get out of their own way, and they're 3-7 on the year. We have a total of 7, so we're assuming a pitcher's duel. How are you attacking this game?
Well, these teams played right out of the box a 3-game series. San Fran took 2 or 3 in Cincinnati. The Reds pitcher, Hunter Green, struck out 8 in only 5 innings work. That was opening day, so he showed he had some elite stuff. And, it's you got to remember the weather on these games, too. I know people think like, oh, it's baseball season. You think of baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, hot outside. Boy, some of these games, especially like back east, it's freezing out there. The Cubs played in 35-degree weather the other day, too. The Oracle, though, is more of a pitcher-friendly park, especially night games. This one goes at 6:45 p.m. Eastern time. I like Green to go a little bit deeper than 5 innings in this game. I'm actually looking to take his over strikeouts over 6.5 in this one. for the full game. You know what? That's something that literally that prop market on strikeouts didn't come out till a few years ago. So I just don't think the sports books could be efficient at all of these type of props when they have to make up, 60, 70 different bets for one game. And it shows that I'm having a good prop season already on pitching props and different type of baseball props. We're going to beat that market. I'm just glad you guys are allowed to bet that stuff, because for some reason, these sports books, being funny for some reason, these sports books like to throw me out. I'm thrown out of many sports books in this town and nationwide. I'm not allowed to be on apps. I get thrown out of sports books for one thing, for using my brain. So these people can get at these over 6.5 strikeouts.
That's so funny, Bill, that you said that, because I was out for dinner on Friday night with a bunch of people, and they know I bet on sports, and they know I gamble, and they were asking me, because I'm going to Vegas mid-June to play in the WSOP Seniors event, and they asked me, do you get comped? I mean, surely you go to Vegas so often and you gamble so much, you get comped. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I have never been comped in my life, Bill. There is not a casino on the planet that has ever called me on the phone and said, hey, Prez, when are you coming back? And I wear that with a badge of honor. If you're on a VIP list, you need to check into Gamblers Anonymous. If you get comped when you go to casinos, you got a gambling issue. I wear a badge of honor that I do not get comped, and you probably wear it as a frustrating badge of honor that they keep kicking you out of these sports books.
Well, I got to be honest with you. Like, I ate at Westgate last night at Benihana's. I've got to be blunt with you, Prez. They're pretty good to me. I bet a lot of money in Westgate. I told everyone, you're welcome to ask John Murray. I took a 6-figure check out of there a couple of years in a row at the end of the season, and yet they still comp me to the restaurant. So I get my comps based on Sportsbook over at Westgate, over at South Point. Circa also gives me comp dollars for Sportsbook, though it's about 1/100th of what Westgate gives. If you're put on a sharp list, they comp you at a much lower rate. But and I'll play some video poker promotions and stuff. And I was just backed off my favorite casino in the world to win. They backed me off playing video poker, not allowed to play, because I'm looking to play with an edge. So I'm looking to play with cash back and certain kind of bonus structures. But anyway, we'll have you out here firing on slot machines and playing craps when you come in June. I'll be able to get you a free room.
Love you, Bill Krackomberger. I already have my room, and I don't ask people for free anything. You are the best. Guys, we are so lucky to have this freaking guy with us. Are you kidding me? It took 18 months to pry this guy away from his previous position. 18 months of begging and pleading, and now he is exclusive to WagerTalk, one of, if not the greatest sports bettors on the planet. Bill freaking Krackomberger.
Appreciate that, Prez. Look forward to talking to you and seeing you again. Guys, have a great week. Enjoy the weather. Relax. Don't go crazy on tonight's game just because it's just one game. I know it's the championship game. Just make sure bankroll management plays a big part. Thanks again, Prez. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
There you go. Bill Krackomberger, spelled incorrectly by Dan, our producer. Lots of love to Dan, though. Yeah, he thinks that a K comes before a C, but hey, that's okay. We forgive him. Guys, yes, there's a huge game tonight. Brian Powell will be joining us in a second to give you a total bet on that. But if you were to bet one play tonight, one play only, it shouldn't be in college basketball. It should be my 5% in the NHL. I'm on an 11-2 run in the NHL. I'm up close to 40 units in the NHL. I'm the #1 most profitable expert in the NHL. I won my 5% in NBA last week. I won my 5% in NHL last week. Please take advantage of my 5% play tonight. And also, guys, 2 shows already done today. I finished my show with Matthew Barnaby, The Blue Line, one of my favorite shows. I get to do a show with Matthew Barnaby. I mean, pinch me. How lucky am I? That's all NHL. You can find that over at WagerTalk TV. And I did Puck Time with Carmine as well. That's up at WagerTalk TV too. Brian Power joining us. Brian, I've missed you. I love you. You're the man. You got killer hair. It's got a weird color today. Andy, you have had an incredible college basketball season. What's happening with you, bro?
Yeah, just one more game, Prez. You know how it goes. 4% best bet. I got locked and loaded, 12-4 in the tourney since the start of round 2. We did have an unusual, atypical dip there in the first round, but we immediately bounced back.
Remember.
2-1 in the Final Four on Saturday. We did lose because I know the commenters know they want you to acknowledge when you lose the big one, so I will do that. I did lose Auburn on Saturday, but I won my other 2 plays. I had Houston as well, so we had one comeback go our way, Prez, and one comeback obviously not be as kind in those 2 games. Also had the under in the Florida-Auburn game, which I think seems apropos since I'm about to talk about the total on tonight's championship game.
Andrew Wadge wants to know when Kid Poker is coming on Blue Line. I'll find out from Matthew today, Wadge. I'll let you know tomorrow. Bryke, also congratulations on your show, Morning Wager. It's freaking amazing. What a show. And you're clearly the Mark Zeno whisperer, so that's awesome too.
Somebody has to do it.
Yeah, I get you, brother. That man gets out of control. He reminds me of me. Okay. Yeah. You got a total bet on tonight's game. This line is 141. You're going over or under, and tell us why.
Well, let's first of all, just before I tell you that, talk about the from the 2 teams' perspective where this total is at. From the Houston perspective, the total is high. In fact, they've had only 2 games all year where the total closed higher than 141.5. Interestingly enough, Prez, both of those went over. This is the second. There was the second round game against Gonzaga here in the NCAA tournament. That was an 81-76 win. The total there closed 142, so not much higher. And then there was a game early in the season versus Alabama where the total closed 150, and it ended up 85-80. Note that game did go to overtime, but was tied 78-78 at the end of regulation, so it would have gone over even without the extra 5 minutes. From the Florida perspective, the total is, of course, pretty low. In fact, even at the current number, we've seen a dip there, as you see on the screen. It's still the second lowest total for any Gators game this season. The lowest, very early in the season against a Virginia team, Prez, that we know plays slow, is offensively challenged. That total was 133, and it flew over, though. Florida won 87-69 in that one. So all of that, I bring it up because it makes for an interesting handicap, right? On one hand, you've got a high total. One hand, you've got a low total from the team's perspective. I will say this. The way you play the total is probably going to be correlated with how you view the side here. Houston winning, probably more conducive to an under. Florida winning, probably more conducive to the game going over. But regardless of who you like, for me, it does seem that this game's more likely to stay under the total. Houston, number 1 in the country, defensive rating per KenPom, number 1 in points allowed per game. They also play 5th slowest tempo in the country. I also think this could be the key. Watch this, because we saw it late in the game. You brought up the Duke game at the outset, Prez. Houston's ability to pressure the ball, I think, gives Florida problems here. The 2 big guys against Auburn, they kept picking up their dribble. Sometimes they got away with it. They're not going to get away with it if they keep doing that here against Houston. And I know Florida had the 11-0 overrun, Prez, before the game against Auburn, where, again, I had the under in that game and cashed it. But Florida can defend. They're a top 10 defensive rating team at KenPom as well. The key is going to be limiting Houston's threes. This is something that's not talked about enough. Houston's number 1 in the country in 3-point shooting percentage, 39.9%. But even if they're making them, it's always a low volume, Prez. You got to understand that. Houston, despite having the number 1 3-point percentage, 281st in attempts per game, 139th in makes per game. So even if they're shooting a high percentage, you're not going to get a ton of threes. Florida did just hold Auburn to 28% from behind the arc. It's not my favorite bet for tonight. My favorite bet is on the side. Again, you can get that at wt.buzz/pp. But if I had to play the total, I would go under on this one.
Yeah, and Brian, really great point about Houston. And the other thing to add is they're not actually looking for those 3-point shots. So when they do happen, they come late in the shot clock as well. They seem to be one of those rare inside-out teams that don't really exist much anymore. So I think that's an excellent point. And they had a great shooting percentage on threes against Duke. I think 10 points over their average or 7-8 points over their average. So that might come back down as well. And my last question, my only question to you is, because I understand the under and it makes a lot of sense. I would prefer the under in the first half here, Bri. Firstly, most of these 140, 150s see a 65 first half and a 80 second half. And we saw with both Houston and Florida, they start out slow as well. So I love where you're going. I prefer the first half under here.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because you referenced the morning wager that Zinno and I do each and every day here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Make sure you click subscribe. You can always check that show. It's Monday through Friday. We give you 3 free picks. Our best bet today, Zinno and I, that's always something that he and I agree on. It was the first half under on this game, as a matter of fact. I just wanted to give people a different look and expanded look here for full game. But yeah, I do not disagree. As a matter of fact, I completely agree with anyone who would want to take the first half under in this one.
Speaking of the morning wager, Baba writes, no, one of these guys, who wrote? Somebody wrote that the morning wager is the funniest show on the WagerTalk Network, and I couldn't agree more. You guys really need to check that show out. It's just freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Bri, let's turn our attention to some NBA. We got Miami playing Philadelphia, and Miami has been so kind to me, Bri. I think I'm on a 10-0 run with them. I just had a 5% play on their team total over 59.5 a few days ago. They ended at 60, so we cashed that. Now they're minus 13.5 against Philly with a total of 213.5. How do we bet this game?
Interestingly enough, Prez, I've actually won 2 games going against Miami since the All-Star break. One of them was just the other night on Saturday, my only NBA play over the weekend. I faded them at home against Milwaukee. Got a little lucky with that game going to overtime, but of course, I will take the win. Prez, I like to think at least that you want to be on the show, not just to talk about the big game, but because you also know deep in your heart, I am the only person alive who would come on here, look the people in the eye, and make a case for betting Philadelphia here. Look, I know it's been a disastrous season for Dan Alexander's team. You got Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey all out for the season with injuries. Teams eliminated from playoff contention. They should be ashamed of themselves in the depth-shy East of that. And on top of all that, they've lost 11 straight games. They'd also failed to cover 9 in a row before the last one where they cashed plus 16.5 against Minnesota. But look, Prez, this number's come down a little bit this morning. It was 14.5. I still think it's too many points for the Heat to be laying against anybody. It wasn't that long ago. Miami was on a 10-game straight-up losing streak themselves. Tonight marks just the second time this season, guys, that Miami's a double-digit favorite. The first time, all the way back on December 12th, and they did not cover. My strongest play, I played against Miami twice in recent weeks. The first was, or the most recent being Saturday against Milwaukee. The other time, early in March, they were -9 here at home against a Charlotte Hornets team that looked dead in the water. The Hornets won the game outright as 9-point underdogs. I assume the Heat are going to win here. They need wins to improve their standing in the play-in tournament, but just too many points, Prez, backing the dog out of sheer principle.
Yeah.
This one is atrociously ugly. Hold your nose. Grab those points in Philadelphia.
No, I get it. I mean, it's not like Miami's some juggernaut. This team's 35-43 on the year. ATS, they're 37-40. They have not earned the right to be double-digit favorites against anybody. I don't even think they earned the right to be double-digit favorites against Houston tonight. And that's the Houston team playing Florida. Brian Power joining us. Bri, what do you got to promote?
Yeah, it's going to be a winning season in college. That's already clinched. We're top 5 for the season in college basketball, number 4. So we want to put an exclamation point on it with this 4% best bet on the national championship game. Again, 12-4 since the second round of the tourney. That is 75%. Don't need to be a math major to figure that out. And that's my only play for Monday. So just 4% WT.buzz/BP as we look to keep it going and put that exclamation point on the college basketball season. Top 5 also all sports since the start of the year in 2025. Very proud of that as well.
Well, proud that you're with us, my friend. Thank you for doing this. And guys, make sure to check out the Morning Wager. Really spectacular show. We got lots still left. We got Jesse Schule joining us to talk prop bets for tonight's big college basketball game. Carmine Bianco is going to look at tomorrow's matchup in the Champions League. We're going to end the show with Gianni the Greek. I want to shout out Justin P., Spencer, Ashur, Damian, Steve, Joey, Victor, Joseph, Matt, Paul, George, Meldon, Robert, John, Ben, Anthony, Tony, Justin, Paul, Rizwan, David, George, Justin again, 3 different ones, Damian, James. All of you guys have purchased my 5% play in NHL tonight. It means the world to me, the world. Thank you guys for doing that. Jesse Schule joining us. Jesse, how was your vacation, brother?
It was all right. I survived. I don't recommend a trip to Phnom Penh anytime soon. I don't think I'll be going back, Prez.
Damn it. Carmine, if you're listening, let's take Phnom Penh off of our list of vacation places. I know for Carmine and I, it was in our top 3, so no Phnom Penh for us. Jesse, you put in the chat room that the foul was egregious, and I'm assuming you're talking about the over the back from Mr. Flag. I thought it was a very tic-tac
Wasn't it
foul.
sort of under the arm? I don't think it was over the back. Wasn't it kind of under the armpit?
Whatever the case may be, yes, it was a horrible foul, but no more or less horrible than missed fouls later on. And this concept of it was the foul that changed the game. Yeah, well, maybe if Duke would have hit one extra field goal in the last 10 and a half minutes, that foul would have been meaningless. I'm not going to consider that.
I mean, I agree. You can't really say it was fixed, because nobody made Duke choke the way they choked. They just they threw up all over themselves at the end of the game. That said, regarding the foul, I mean, there's an unwritten rule. If it's a ticky-tacky foul in the second quarter, you just don't call it in the final minute. So that's the problem I had with it. Everybody knows you don't call that to decide a game.
I accept what you're saying, but hey, they did miss a kicked ball maybe 20 seconds earlier that was crucial to how the game would have been decided as well. So we could pick whatever narrative we want. Duke pooched it, and ultimately it demonstrated why having an incredible player like Cooper Flag on your team, you know, it's good and bad. There was an inbound play where Knuble, or whatever his name is, was wide freaking open, standing right in front of the guy. And the gentleman spent all of his time trying to get the ball to Flag. So, yeah, too bad, Duke. So sad. We move on. What do you got for us in tonight's college basketball game?
Gonna look at some player props, Prez. We just listened to Power give us the winning total, and I do agree with the sentiment. And you know it, Prez, if it's a championship game, a game 7 in the NHL or the NBA or college basketball, the under is worth a look always. And I will say over the last 15 years, the average combined points total in a college basketball final is roughly 135 points. So when I see this total at 141 and a half available, I'm leaning toward the under, but that's got me looking at some player props, because if there's less points to go around, if it's going to be a defensive battle as Power outlined for us, it's going to be hard for some of these guys to put up these big numbers. And a lot of these points totals are inflated. I'm looking at the leading scorer for the Florida Gators, Walter Clayton Jr. His points total sits at 18 and a half. And he averaged 15 and a half or 16 and a half this season. I had it written down. I can't see it here now, but he's coming off back-to-back 30-point games. So the number's a little bit inflated. And, you know, the Gators have played a lot of high-scoring games. They've gone over the total in 9 of their last 10 games. We're not expecting that high score here against the number 1 ranked defense in the country. And if I'm looking for a comparable situation for Walter Clayton Jr., the Gators did play Tennessee twice. Now, Tennessee's defense isn't quite as good as Houston's, but they're pretty good, the best in the SEC. Against Tennessee in the regular season, 2 games, 13 points. Yeah. That's not 13 points per game. That's 13 combined points. They did have a conference tournament game against Tennessee as well. So in the 3 games, he averaged 13 points total against Tennessee. It's going to be tough for him to get past 18 points here against Houston. So I'm going to go under his points total, Walter Clayton Jr.
And conversely, you like Cryer, LJ, over 22.5 PRAs, points, rebounds, and assists. Tell us why.
Yeah, well, I was going with the same theory, thinking I want to go under on some of these inflated numbers, but I'm looking at his number, and the 22.5 just seems a little bit too low. The guy averaged 15.6, 2.3 rebounds, and 2 assists in the regular season, but he was averaging 32 minutes a game. Well, he played 40 minutes against Duke, 38 and 37 in the previous 2 games. He's probably going to play between 38 and 40 minutes in this game. And he's getting more rebounds and more assists. And that PRA compared to his points total isn't as much higher as it should be. And because of that, I like Cryer to go over that number. I think if he doesn't get to his points total, that just means he'll get a few more rebounds and make up for it. So I like Cryer to go over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists in this game.
Jesse, I'm so glad you're back, man. It's nice to see you again. What do you have going with the clients tonight?
Got a 5% MLB play, and I am 31-11 with my last 42 top-rated 4% or 5% MLB plays. That's 74%. I do have a play on the tourney, 13-3 with my last 16 tourney plays. I got an NHL play, and I am 61% with money line plays, 4% and 5%, nice. The last 3.5 seasons, that for a profit of 146 units. One of the clients called in the office the other day and said, Jesse plays some favorites. I'm a little bit concerned about it. So I had to write them a nice explanation of why I play favorites. Yeah. But when you look at a win percentage of 61% since January 1st of 2022 with money line plays, I think that explains it right there, Prez.
Fair enough. Jesse Schule, everybody, one of the best prop bettors on the planet and an awesome guy and an incredibly strong weightlifter, which is important to me because I love weightlifting. Speaking of weightlifting, Carmine Bianco joining us, everyone, to talk some soccer bets. Carm, I don't know why I mentioned you and weightlifting in the same breath, but go with it. Go with it, Carm. Give us a flex.
I am definitely not a weightlifter. Prior to my trip, I'm waiting for Amazon to deliver it. I actually ordered one of those slimming shirts that you put under your shirt to tuck in the spare tires and the beer gut. So I got to look good for 14 days traveling through Italy. So I'm not a weightlifter by any means of the imagination there. By the way,
Carmine,
I like following Jesse.
Yeah. Why?
Because
and why is everybody wearing black?
Because I just finished watching the season finale of The White Lotus, and Jesse reminds me of Jason Isaacs, who plays Timothy Ratliff on
Don't ruin it.
I'm not going to ruin it. No. I never. Okay. Spoiler, there's no spoiler alerts here. If you haven't watched White Lotus season 3, the season finale is absolutely epic. You'll definitely want to see it. Makes up for the whole season in general.
Okay. Well, I just started, so I finished season 3 Reacher, and I just started White Lotus, so I'll let you know how that goes. I'm watching that with Vivian. I'm watching the new Daredevil by myself. And as far as why is everyone in black, Dan Alexander points out that's a reflection of the market that is going on today. It is Black Monday, according to Dan. Carmine Bianco joining us. He's going to be joining us tomorrow as well. We have the Champions League quarterfinals this week, and I wanted to give you a chance to provide us with 2 bets. Today, you're going to talk Arsenal versus Real Madrid. That game goes tomorrow, and tomorrow you'll be talking Paris Saint-Germain against Aston Villa. So let's start with the Arsenal-Real Madrid game. The microphone is yours.
This is, I think this is one of the best games over the next a couple of days. Some people will say that could be Inter versus Bayern Munich. But when it comes to Champions League, Real Madrid are the royalty of Champions League, 15-time winners, defending champions. Carlos Ancelotti, the Italian manager, always has his teams competing in these knockout stages and in these quarterfinals and finals. This is one of those ones where you look at the opening line and or the line right now, and Arsenal's plus 133 at home, Real Madrid's plus 215. The total sits here at 2.5 right now. But some money is coming in on the under, and that's what I want to look at as far as this game goes. No one likes playing unders in soccer, but normally leg one of these quarterfinals and semifinals, because the teams are so good, it is a much tighter affair. You look at Arsenal throughout this competition, and they have been very good defensively. They've been good defensively as a whole all season long. In the Premier League, which is the best league in Europe, 10-4-1, only one loss at home, 30-12 goal differential, allowing 0.8 goals per game at home. During the group stages of this Champions League tournament, they played 4 home games, outscoring their opponents 9-0, 4 clean sheets. They definitely play, and that comes with having a very good midfield. A couple injuries to their back line, but the Italian Calafiore, I wouldn't have had him in the starting lineup. He's more of an attacking, back for this Arsenal team. They get Saka back, which is a big thing. He was rested on the weekend, came in for a few minutes in their draw against Everton on Saturday morning. You look at Real Madrid of late. They're struggling. They lose at home in an upset loss at home this past weekend, losing 2-1, and it's back-to-back losses for them as well too. On the road this season, at least in Champions League play, 2-2 on the road during the group stages. When you look at this team, they are loaded with talent. Mbappe, Vinny Jr. up front, Bellingham, great attacking. It is the midfield and the back line right now with injuries to this team. And it's been this way all season long. Mendy, Carvalho, Militao, Ceballos missing. Luka Modric, the Croatian midfielder, 39 years old, could actually start this game. This is one of those ones where I think that Real Madrid tries to get any type of a result, come home where they are so much better. Under 2.5 seems like the right play for me. This looks like one of those 1-0, 1-1 type games that will be decided in a week's time back in Spain where they play in Madrid. So under 2.5 is the play here.
Carmine Bianco joining us, under 2.5 in tomorrow's matchup between Arsenal and Real Madrid. Carm, what do you have going for the clients?
There's going to be obviously hockey tonight. One best bet, a couple of winners last night on the card, a 5% winner on Saturday with the Leafs in regulation, and we're going to try and get on a roll as we head into the playoffs. 10 days left of the NHL season. A great deal at WagerTalk. All the playoffs for $195, including 5% plays, and you'll get the rest of the NHL season, which is 10 days with a lot of games of importance still to be played for $195. This is a great deal. I'll have Champions League on Tuesday, Wednesday, and there's already a couple of Europa League games that I have released as well too that I really like on Thursday. So plenty of action throughout the week over at WagerTalk for me.
There we go. Carmine Bianco. Awesome, dude. Love having you do this with us. What a fun show today. And still Gianni the Greek to come. Gianni, how was your weekend, my brother?
Good. Little surprising. I thought Auburn would get there, not Houston of my futures, but Houston did get there for me, and sitting pretty, man. I got 15 units just sitting there. I was able to hedge the Texas women's. I didn't make money off that bet, but we got there towards the end, and it was just a tough matchup because both I knew UConn and South Carolina were better than them, but at 11-1, I thought we'd get some equity and hoping the line was shorter, but it wasn't. So I kind of just set us up so that it was a free roll. Either we get a chance in the championship game to lock in a profit or we break even. And we got to the break even point, which was good. But I had a great weekend, nailed my 5% in MMA again. So, yeah, things are good. Up for the year and number 2 in baseball, last I checked.
Gianni, what are you going to do tonight? Like, you're sitting here with a Houston, what was it, plus 750, give or take?
Yep. I got a nice bet. I think I'm trying to determine whether to make a 5%. If I didn't have the future, it definitely would be a 5% play. Now I just have to organize it to see if that makes the most sense. I think I got to do right by my clients. And if I bet it like that, I'm going to release it like that. But I'm really starting to like this game a lot. And I love that it's sitting around that coin flip. I think that's where it should be. But I do think we have some recency bias there. I'm also looking at the total. I know it's dropping and the sharp side seems to be the under. But with 2 very close match teams, I don't know. Like, I could see it being such a close game that you get those fouls down the end that kind of could push it over. You know what I mean? Like, you have a dead under that ends up flying over because they want to extend the game. That's what I worry about with the under.
Yeah, that's why I suggested on the Brian Power segment that if I'm going to play the under in this game, I'm actually going to play it in the first half for many reasons. But I agree with you. I don't like the under necessarily on the entire game, but I do like it in the first half. And I want to shout out Kelly and John Stewart. They did a video. God, this could have been in early February where they both took Houston as a future bet, and it was much bigger than plus 750 at the time. So shout out to those 2 extremely talented bettors. And Gianni, best of luck on your bet. And yeah, I thought about you. And obviously when Auburn lost, I was like, okay, man, let's get him 1. Plus I was on Houston at plus 5.5. So that worked out well for both of us. Where's the steam going tonight in the college basketball game?
So far, nothing at all. Just a little. As soon as the 142 came out, they bet the under a little bit, but it wasn't betting syndicate money. Like, that's the difference. You know, it was just some sharp bettors that get respect. And that's why you saw a slight move, not a significant move. And it's kind of sitting where it opened, not far from it. And you're getting pretty good 2-way action from the recreational bettors as well. And especially on the side, like, they're seeing good balanced action so far. And that's why the line hasn't moved all that much. I doubt you're going to get wise guy money on the side. I think that the betting public's going to determine where this game goes off. And from where it looks, from my vantage point, I'm not too sure we're going to see much movement either way. You know, I think it probably goes off. Florida is a 1-point favorite. I think this is a good game to book because you're not going to get any risk of being middled. And getting 11 to 10 is the best position to be in, especially, again, when kind of like the Super Bowl, where it was kind of a coin flip game. One team's, less than a possession favored over the other. And because of that, you get good 2-way action. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing like 9 out of 10 bets on one side, kind of like we were talking about on Saturday with Last Call with Kelly, where it was like Florida. But that's just not the case today. I'm seeing good 2-way action. Like I said, I do expect prop bets. That's where I expect to get buy orders, but that's going to come later once the betting public starts firing on some of these props. If they start betting these props over, I expect to get a bunch of buy orders 2-3 hours before tip-off, taking advantage of some of these unders on the player props, especially the recency bias. Look for those guys that in the last game had an outlier game. That's the key here. You look at the Houston versus Duke, and you look at Florida versus Auburn, and try to isolate those players that either played way above market expectations or way below market expectations based on what their prop number was in that game. That's why I keep all the lines from those previous games to see how far below were they, how far above were they, and now look what the adjustment is based on that. And I think you could find some real gems, because you know what you're getting with these two teams: offense versus defense. Florida, number 1 offense, barely top 10 defense. Houston, number 1 defense, barely top 10 offense. So it's the opposite ends of the spectrum, which, makes it a little difficult because there's not that narrative. Like if they were both top 2 defenses, top 3 defense, we'd have some biases to take advantage of. Or if they were both top 2 or 3 offense, we'd have some bias to take advantage of. But the opposite end of the spectrum makes it a little bit more difficult. And I think that's why you're not seeing line movement, Prez, because usually this should have moved already. If anything, here's what I see. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston went to pick them or -1, because my gut instinct tells me that when this game tips off, Houston will get most of the money. Right now it looks balanced, but I think that's going to change because we haven't seen about 70+% of the money that's going to come in. And I don't think the recreational bettors are going to be able to fade a team that beat Duke the way they did.
Right.
I think Houston's going to look really, really attractive to them as the day progresses.
I just got yelled at by Dan Alexander while you were talking. My cell phone rang, and he pointed out that there is a mute button. So yeah, okay, muted. Sorry about that, Daniel. You're so right. You're so right, brother. You always got my back.
Are you buying today, Prez? Not to go off topic, but are you buying today? Are you dollar cost averaging in some of these stocks? I haven't seen this opportunity come along in a long time, man. Take a look at NVIDIA. Take a look at SMCI. Those stocks, the Teslas that are giving us these opportunities. Yes. I think we have another week. I think the worst hasn't happened yet, but you could get into the SP 500 right now. That's at a risk level I haven't seen in such a long time. Like where it's down below that bull market support. Even gold is down now under that 3,000 range.
How about Bitcoin taking a hit?
Ethereum, but here's the best buy right now, Ethereum. It may get down to like 1,200, but I was like at 1,400 today, start buying. And now it went back up above 15, but we bought a little bit right around that price. And I'm hoping it gets down to that 1,200 to back up the truck. It may not. But the risk level for Ethereum right now, if you have a 3 to 5 year outlook, I don't think it gets much better than this as far as risk level goes.
I agree. And Bitcoin and frankly, everything. But here's the problem, Gianni. You know, in order to take advantage of the market and the correction that is happening now and then the recorrection that might be coming, you have to have a lot of liquidity. And most people have zero. Most people have zero liquidity, Gianni.
No, that's what we were talking about, having the dry powder and not chasing the FOMO of that, like a lot of people were doing. Let's not forget, Prez, in December of 2024, that was just 6 months ago. You're looking at Ethereum at $4,000. That's 6 months, $4,000. Now it's 1,500.
Yeah,
the coin hasn't changed.
A lot of opportunity in front of us, just a very few amount of people who could take advantage of that. Gianni, we only have a minute left with you. Where's the bets for, we got 2 baseball games, 5 NHL games, and I think there's 11, give or take, 2 NBA, 5 NHL, and about 11 or so baseball. Where's the money going in these sports?
Yeah, nothing in NBA. In fact, we saw 2-way action. First, Detroit got bet up last night in the overnight against Sacramento. This morning, you're seeing the 7.5 being taken out, the 7 being taken out. So a lot of middle opportunity in the NBA. In Major League Baseball, here's what's going on. But all the bulk's going to come on the national championship. This is usually a slow volume day. Usually it's the wise guys versus the books. And the public's using the favorites in Major League Baseball to tie into parlays with the national championship. But here's what the sharp guys did. They did the overnight. They laid 953 to Dodgers, -45, -55, -65, -75. But then this morning, once the public pushed it up, and all the steam chasers pushed it up and tied it into that national championship game, they came back and they started taking +180, +175, and +160. So you got a perfect scalp on that Dodgers game. One-sided overnight, though, steam, 958, San Francisco, -135 and -145. Also, 964 under 8.5, Minnesota, Kansas City, all the way up to -125. Not to go under 8. They stopped at 8.5. And also Arizona, -115. Once they pushed it up, and like I said, once the steam chasers came in, that's when you saw the real move come in today. And that was Baltimore +120, Baltimore +115. And finally, San Diego versus Athletics under 8.5, all the way up to -125. But again, that was last night. A lot of these totals happened the night before. And I kept talking about it. I'll sound like a broken record. Keep your eye out for follow through. That's the key. Look if there's any follow through. So slow day. It's all about the national championship. but we resume to normalcy tomorrow, brother, where it's just Major League Baseball day by day and waiting for the NBA playoffs and NHL
Gianni the
playoffs.
Greek. Gianni, what do you got for the clients?
Like I said, I'm going to confirm within the next hour whether the 5% is coming in college basketball. I already have a UFC play up. That's a 4% play, and great card pay-per-view on Saturday. I think I got another 5% isolated, but I've been really scarce with those. So we'll see if we get there. Busy week ahead. So looking forward to it.
Well done. What a show, everybody. Thank you, Gianni, for doing this. Brian and Michael T, both of you just purchased my 5% play in the last 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Guys, I got a huge card tonight. I have a 5% in NHL. I got a 4% in college basketball. You can get them both over at WagerTalk. The Blue Line, the hockey show is up. The Puck Line, Puck Time, the other hockey show is up. Morning Wager is up. This show is up. We are 902 away from 200,000 subscribers. Lots of love to every single one of you. Play careful tonight. The championship game is only one game. There are better bets out there. Lots of love, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.